Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So these are lots to negotiate on this video today. So I do believe, if we are not competing for the top four by Christmas time or by the new year, I do believe, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will be sacked as Manchester United manager, or if not sacked, the pressure, will mount up on him, of course. Obviously, we do know that our expectations this season, probably, will be to finish in that top four, and obviously we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations. Now, obviously, we do know that we've enjoyed a difficult start to the season so far. We've only managed one win out of four, so we've only registered 5 points from a possible 12, because obviously, we've won one, drawn two, and of course lost one and that. And basically, it is replicating what we saw last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished sixth. Obviously, failed to win many silverware, and of course we failed to qualify for the Champions League. And I do believe in that aspect, that went against us in the summer transfer window, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recommended 3 good players to the squad. We did address some of the problematic areas, but we didn't address all the problematic areas. But I did say certain players at a certain calibre and level, throughout the course of the summer, would have had reservations about joining the football club, obviously with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. But I did say, we have got big ambitions for the future, and obviously we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to get Manchester United back to winning silverware, and of course Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring this back to the football club. He also wants to bring the winning mentality back to the football club. He wants to bring that fear factor back to the football club, because obviously that fear factor hasn't been there since the Alex Ferguson era and that. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, wants to bring this back to the football club. But I think there's the vast majority of pundits that have got a huge doubts about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They don't think he will bring that fear factor back to Manchester United. But for me, throughout the course of this season so far, for me, I don't think we've played particularly bad. We just haven't been clinical enough in front of goal, and that seems to be our problem. We are creating chances, but we just haven't got that clinical element. And obviously, last season, we only managed 53 goals. We conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season for the first time in 40 years. But for me, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the right man, to take Manchester United forward? Like I said, I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, and he has got a bit of experience as a manager. Not really to the highest level, and that's obviously an element of concern. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did well whilst when he was interim manager in his first 3 months of last season. He exceeded expectation levels, and the results and that are really, really good. And it just seems to me, since he got the job in March earlier on this year, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong basically. But he has got a bit of experience as a manager. But for me, I think there's a vast majority of Manchester United fans as well, criticising his tactics and that, because he does seem to be tactically getting it wrong. But I hope Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can succeed at Manchester United. And I did say, with the dimension and the history of this football club, we should be up there challenging and of course competing. We haven't been doing that, for the last 6 or 7 years or so. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. Obviously, we've already seen 3 managers, sacked by the football club. And like I did say, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers, because obviously, we're not really known for a sacking club. But I did initially say our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons, because I do believe, it will take at least a couple of years, maybe even 3 years, if that, maybe even more than that, to mount any kind of title challenge up, or of course win the league. Because analysing our current squad at the moment, it isn't good enough to win the league. I think it's definitely good enough for a top 4 finish. And I did say, we have got to get that top 4 this season. That's very, very imperative indeed. That's very, very imperative indeed. And like I did say, if nothing improves at Manchester United, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be sacked by Christmas, or will be sacked by the new year. That's just my overarching view on that. But analysing it, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing, and of course, they are trying to improve in that. Obviously Gary Neville, recently, came out. He mentioned that he believes that Man United are on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I did give you an update earlier on. He basically pinpointed out the game against Southampton the weekend, and he thought we didn't play too bad. We just haven't got that clinical element, and I think there is growing frustration amongst a lot of Manchester United fans, including me. Obviously, with the inconsistency in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But like I said, we have been playing catch up in the last 6 or 7 years and that, so we have been a toxic club for a number of years now. But like I did say, we should be up there competing in that. And like I did say, we've got to get that top four this season. Obviously, we haven't won the league, since 2013. Obviously, that was in Alex Ferguson's last season at the football club. And you could quite arguably say that Robin van Persie, won us the league back in 2013, reflecting on the amount of goals and that he scored. But like I did say, analysing it throughout the course of some, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, didn't get all the players, that I wanted to recommend in that. Because obviously, there was a lot of players on our agenda. Obviously, one of our priority areas, wanted to strengthen up was that midfield. And obviously, we didn't get that midfielder in, of course, that we did want. Don't forget, throughout the course of the summer as well, was in search for a right winner. And like I did say, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, a lot of players have now departed the football club. Obviously, we saw Antonio Valencia leave at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Chris Smalling leave the other week. He's gone out on loan to Roma. Obviously, we saw Darmian leave the football club early on this week. Obviously, Herrera left early on this summer. It was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. Obviously, we saw Marian Fellaini leave the football club. Obviously, we saw Romelu Lukaku leave the football club. I think it was good, in that aspect, it was good business from the football club, generating a substantial amount for the player. Basically, that was a flop, and it was good to see us recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton. Again, we didn't recruit a replacement for Lukaku, but Solskjaer, give his overarching view on that, and he said we didn't get that replacement for Lukaku, to prioritise the development of Mason Greenwood. Obviously, Sanchez, of course, left the football club the other week out on loan. So 4 of the players that did, well, there's more than 4 players that have left, but 4 players, did leave Manchester United, to go and join the Serie A and that. And I do believe, these 2 players now at Manchester United, that are problematic and that are no longer, good enough to represent the football club. So I do believe, maybe furthermore players need to leave in January or perhaps next summer. But in my opinion, I think definitely furthermore investment is needed in January and probably, perhaps next summer. But actually, at the start of the season, the board had actually, come to terms and had realised that, they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, throughout the course of the summer, because, the board did assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, would have been back this summer. But I think, the board have assured, that he will be back in the next couple of windows. And I think, regardless of what happens this season, it didn't literally say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, should be safe, as long as we're not fighting in relegation, or, as long as we're not, fighting, as long as we're not in mid-table and that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, should be safe for at least this season, in my opinion. But like I did say, we've enjoyed a very, very difficult start to the season. And, if we do continue this, bad run of form, I do believe, we probably will enjoy a worse season than what we saw last season, because last season, of course, was very, very disappointing. But like I did say, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is to be sacked by the football club, who would you recommend in as our next manager? Obviously, even before, recommended, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, obviously, was in for Pochettino for quite some time. Like I did say, a lot of people would believe that Pochettino would do a good job at Manchester United. Obviously, we was in for him for a long, long time. Pochettino, like I did say, he hasn't got that proven pedigree yet of winning any silverware as Pochettino. I think this is now his 6th season as Tottenham manager, and I think his expectations, will be to win some silverware with Tottenham. But he is well Premier League proven, his Pochettino. I think his philosophy is quite good. He's good at developing players and all that. But I think, we obviously, chosen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer over Pochettino, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the traditions of the club. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. We only paid just a couple of was it around £7 or £8 million, to get him from Malden, as Pochettino, would have cost us around 35 or 40 million pounds. Don't forget, we went in for Zinedine Zidane as well at one point before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, came in that. But I'm really, really hopeful, of course, it does work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But the way things are going at the moment, I have got huge doubts about that, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I thought, we had a really, really good pre-season. Won 6 games out of 6. We scored 12 goals and only conceded 3 goals. And I did say at that point, I thought, was going to, enjoy a better season this season. We got to a remarkable start, winning 4-0 against Chelsea and that. And then since then, it just seemed to have all gone wrong. We dropped 2 points away to Wolves. We dropped all 3 points at home to Crystal Palace, losing to them for the first time in Premier League history. And, analysing the Wolves game, I thought we did well in the first half, but wasn't really good in the second half. The Crystal Palace game, we had a lot of of shots in that game. We had over 20 odd shots. We had the majority of the possession, but again, not being ruthless enough in front of goal. That was a problem last season. And I think against Southampton, we was quite poor in that. So for me, the results need to improve. The performances, do need to improve in that. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, the performances, do need to improve in that. Because I did say if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, doesn't exceed expectation levels this season, I do believe, he will be, basically, sacked by the football coming out. But I think, Solskjaer had spoken with Ed Woodward, throughout the course of some, about the lack of business in the transfer market. Because I do believe, prior to the summer transfer window, I think, we haven't been competitive enough in the recent windows. We didn't sign anyone in January. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, we didn't get our number one targets. And Solskjaer has spoken about our recruitment policy, throughout the course of the summer. And I analysed it, to be quite honest, it is very, very poor. But at least Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a transfer strategy. He confirmed his transfer strategy early on this summer. He did basically say, he wanted to sign young, homegrown players and that. And, it was good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, recommended 3 good additions in, to the football club and that. We spent over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and, of course, on Harry Maguire. And we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. My opinions on Daniel James, I think he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He's had a really, really good start to his Manchester United career. He's already scored 3 goals so far this season. Don't get me wrong, I think he's still a prospect and needs time to develop, as Daniel James. But I think he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Obviously, his versatility, and that's really, really good. Obviously, we paid £18 million for him from Swansea, and that, so you obviously we got him for a reasonable figure. I think with Wan-Bissaka, like I said, he's had a fantastic start to his Man United career and that. Harry Maguire, I think he's had a pretty decent start to his Man United career. I think he's addressed our defensive deficiencies. But yeah, I recommended 3 good players into the football club. But I did initially say, it was going to be hard for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. So you can quite frankly say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is in the process of rebuilding, because the majority of this squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. But like I did say, we have got quite a few injuries at the moment. Obviously, as it confirmed recently, it confirmed early on this week. And Wan-Bissaka, of course, had to withdraw from the squad. He had to withdraw from the England squad, with a back injury. I think it did say that Wan-Bissaka has returned to Old Trafford, for treatment, and he will be monitored in the next couple of days, to see if he can be fully fit, to play in the game against Leicester after the international break. But I hope Wan-Bissaka's injury is not too severe. Obviously, we've got quite a few other fullbacks as well. We've got Ashley Young, who's one of the backups. We've got Diego Dalot, that's one of the backups. Obviously, we've got Luke Shaw, but obviously, Luke Shaw and that is injured. So we have got quite a few injuries. Obviously, with Luke Shaw, obviously, he's got a hamstring injury. He's out until early October. And Luke Shaw's a very, very imperative player. I think he's had a pretty average start to this season as Luke Shaw, but I thought, reflecting on his impressive performances last season, he was, really, really good. Obviously, he won the double player this season. And Luke Shaw is reliable on that left-hand side. Very, very reliable indeed. So I'm pretty disappointed, that he's out with injury. So he's got a hamstring injury. Obviously, we do know that Eric Bailly is out until Christmas, around Christmas time, he's got a serious knee injury. Obviously, Diego Dalot's been injured, but I think he should be okay for the Leicester game. Fossil Mensah's long-term absence. Obviously, Lee Grant's out with injury. Don't forget Anthony Martial, of course, is out with thigh injury. Like I did say at the time, I hope his injury is not too severe, Anthony Martial's, because I think he's enjoyed a pretty decent start to this season, Anthony Martial, obviously, before he sustained this thigh injury. And I think Martial's developing, really, really well. I still don't think, he's quite emulated to that level yet. Obviously, Martial's in his 5th season now as a Manchester United player. Obviously, it confirmed at the start of the season that Martial is being given that number 9 shirt. So, obviously, he's going to be playing more central this season, because, Martial does, seem to be more effective in that central position. Obviously, you've got Rashford as well that can play central and that can play out wide just like Martial can. But Martial, does seem to be more effective in that central position, because obviously in the game against Southampton, Rashford had actually fulfilled Martial's role. Rashford was playing central, and I thought Rashford looked very, very isolated. He didn't latch onto any of them crosses, and Rashford, of course, was very, very poor in that game against Southampton. Obviously, he did receive a lot of criticism and that. But for me, Anthony Martial is definitely the long-term solution for Man United. Don't forget, he got given a new 5-year deal back in the January transfer window and that. But I think in that aspect, it was really, really good business by the football club and that. was really good business by the football club. But like I did say, we have got quite a few young upcoming players. Obviously, Mason Greenwood. Obviously, Solskjaer confirmed at the start of the season. He's been assured more opportunities this season as Mason Greenwood. Obviously, Mason Greenwood is yet to start again from the start for Manchester United so far this season. He has made 4 substitute appearances, but Mason Greenwood definitely needs to start against Leicester from the start. Obviously, you got Chong as well. I don't think he's yet played this season, but I do believe he should get given his opportunities. Angel Gomez, I'm surprised he didn't participate against Southampton. I think it did initially say he was going to be a big part of the squad this season. Angel Gomez. So we have got quite a few young upcoming players in that. But I said, the young players, were a fruition throughout pre-season. I didn't initially say I believe, they'll be a fruition this season. But it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got a lot of, trustworthy in his young upcoming players and that. I haven't really seen much improvements this season. What I saw last season, I've seen slight improvements. We do look a little bit better in the attacking third of the pitch because we have now got a bit of more pace now up front, and that's obviously something lacked last season. But definitely there's still a lot of areas in the squad that do need to be addressed in that. Still a lot of areas in the squad, in my opinion, that do need to be addressed. Like I did say, I think we look slightly, better defensively in that. Obviously, with the signing of Harry Maguire, I think he's improved his defensively, but we still are leaking goals. Obviously, despite Chris Smalling, going out on loan to Roma, we have still got 6 centre backs. Don't forget, we've got Lindelof and Harry Maguire. That's obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice. Harry Maguire obviously is the best option than what we've got in our backline at the moment. Obviously, Victor Lindelof, these question marks around him, can he keep the consistency up? And I do believe, Victor Lindelof, probably, can keep the consistency up. And then obviously we've got lights of Eric Bay, we've got Marcus Rojo. Solskjaer confirmed prior to the Southampton game that Rojo, will definitely, be staying at the football club. I think we still need to orchestrate on getting rid of Rojo in the future though, because I just don't think he's good enough to represent Manchester United. Plus, he's going to find game time difficult. Obviously, hasn't played so far in the Premier League this season, Rojo. And I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, with the amount of injuries he has sustained. Obviously, quite a few teams went in for Rojo. Everton went in for him in deadline day. Marcel and Monaco and AC Milan, of course, inquired about getting Rojo. He's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United. But I think he's now, 29 years of age. His versatility is very good. So I think it's good in that aspect for Rojo. But we do know now he's staying at Manchester United for now anywhere for this season. But I think we could orchestrate on getting rid of him in January or maybe perhaps next summer. Don't forget, we've got Alex Tuanzebe in that back line. But I think he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. So I think, he should get given his opportunity, because obviously Alex Tuanzebe, was impressive on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. But we have still got a lot of central defenders and that in the team. Analysing that midfield, and that's my main element concern, is that midfield and all that. And I'm very happy, that we are keeping Paul Pogba at the football club. Very delighted about that Paul Pogba staying at Manchester United. So basically, we do know now that Solskjaer recently, confirmed that, he was willing to sell Paul Pogba, throughout the course of the summer. This is what, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had confirmed. But obviously, Paul Pogba's, wanted to basically, leave Man United, as he confirmed early on this summer. He did say he was seeking for a new challenge, and he basically publicly admitted early on this summer, Paul Pogba, that he wanted to leave Manchester United to rejuvenate his career. But obviously, Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid never materialised in that. And I did say, the stumbling block of Paul Pogba, I said the main stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving Man United, earlier on this summer, was obviously, reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him, because obviously, we was demanding, around £180 million for him. Obviously, Real Madrid were not willing to pay up to £180 million for Paul Pogba. Basically, we was demanding just over double than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016 and all that. This is what, we was demanding, just over double and all that. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane, identified, Paul Pogba as his number one priority target. Don't forget, obviously, Real Madrid, they spent a substantial amount, throughout the course of the summer. They spent £300 million on players. They did sell some players, so they did, generate some of that money back. Did Real Madrid, but I think Zinedine Zidane, will be infuriated, that he didn't get Paul Pogba in. I still believe, Paul Pogba's plans for the future is definitely, a move to Real Madrid, and that. Definitely a move to Real Madrid. I do believe, Christian Eriksen, was also on Real Madrid's agenda, but I do believe, Real Madrid's, first choice preference, was actually, Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen and all that. Obviously, we do know that Paul Pogba, still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year. Obviously, Paul Pogba is not only our most expensive signing, we paid £89 million for him, but he's also one of the highest paid players at the football club. He's also a World Cup winner, is Paul Pogba. Don't forget, early on in the summer, there was rumours of him, possibly, making a return back to Turin. To be fair, Paul Pogba, did have 4 good years in Turin, with Juventus, but hasn't really, replicated this at Manchester United, since he rejoined back in 2016. But he's now heading now into his he's into his 4th season as a Manchester United player, and I think, to be quite fair, he's had a pretty decent start to this season. Prior to his performance against Southampton, also prior to his penalty miss against Wolves, and obviously early on in the season, Paul Pogba was subjected to online racial abuse following his penalty miss. And I think I'll credit Paul Pogba in the aspects that I think he handled the situation really well. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, but I think probably Paul Pogba is now staying at the football club for this season, but I think he could leave in January, or probably will leave next summer and that. But Ole Gunnar Solsjaker does know how much imperative player that Paul Pogba is, because obviously throughout pre-season and early on in the summer, Solskjaer was talking a lot about Paul Pogba. He also spoken to Paul Pogba, and he did say to Paul Pogba that he doesn't need to leave Manchester United, to fulfill his ambitions and that. But I did give you a couple of reasons why Paul Pogba might have wanted to why he said he wanted to leave the football club, because maybe he's frustrated with lack of competitiveness. Maybe he's maybe because we're not in Champions League football and that, and maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, and he feels as though he isn't playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United. So maybe they're the couple of main factor reasons why he does want to leave the football club, Paul Pogba. But we do know Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he said, I think at the start of this pre-season, that Paul Pogba was in the process of leaving the football club. So this is what Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola had said. But Paul Pogba's 26 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And basically, he's still in his prime, is Paul Pogba. And we have seen Paul Pogba at his best as a Manchester United player, don't forget. And I think you mainly see the best of him when he's freed up. But when he's at his best, he's like 2 players in one. He's good at scoring goals. He can provide assists and all that. And definitely, Paul Pogba is a very, very imperative player indeed. But I'm very, very delighted, that he's staying at the football club for this season. Is Paul Pogba. Obviously, as well as it confirmed earlier on this week, Paul Pogba had withdrawn from the France squad, after an ankle injury. He had sustained in the 1-1 draw with Southampton. He did say earlier on this week that Paul Pogba, was set to undergo a scan, to investigate the extent of the damage. So I did say, I'm hopeful that his injury is not too severe, and I'm hopeful, that he can regain full fitness for the Leicester game after the international break. And I did say, we've got to avoid Paul Pogba, getting any kind of injury. But Paul Pogba's brother, Mathias, he says, now that his brother, will be focusing on the season with Manchester United and that. But yeah, the good thing is, we know now that Paul Pogba is staying at the football club. But I did say, the players, we was in for, throughout the course of the summer. I probably, believe, we will reignite our interest in them in January, probably perhaps next summer. With Bruno Fernandes, I don't think he'll be coming now, even though he was one of our main priority targets throughout the course of summer, because he recently did say that he's obviously, on the brink of joining Real Madrid. Bruno Fernandes in that. But we had our chance there, to get Bruno Fernandes, and I would have been excited about the prospect, of Bruno Fernandes, playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield. Obviously, went in for Christian Eriksen towards the back end of the window. Don't forget, went in for Dybala towards the back end of the window and that. So we could go back in for these certain players in the January transfer window. But definitely, we need to get a midfielder in the January transfer window, because like I did say, we haven't really got a backup to Paul Pogba. Obviously, we have got the likes of McTominay, Fred and Pereira and that, and we have seen glimpses of how good they are. I think McTominay as well has had a pretty decent start to this season. I think he's held his line well, and I think he's, complemented. I think Paul Pogba and McTominay have complemented each other so far, really, really well in our midfield. But I still don't know if McTominay, is the long-term solution for Manchester United. But I think, he's developing, really, really well. With Fred, I don't think he's performed to the same sort of level, as he did do at Shakhtar Donetsk, because I thought he was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk was Fred, but he hasn't really replicated this Manchester United and that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say he expects to see better things from Fred this season, and with Pereira, of course, we have got the same thoughts about him. I still don't know, if he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. But I've got every right, to have a lot of concerns about that midfield. But, obviously, we've got a history of spending a big on players. We also overpay for players. We give players substantial wages and big contracts in that. But the problem is, we pay big for them and then we let them go for next to nothing. Obviously, that's been proven, this summer basically. And obviously, we let Darmy, go for next to no after we paid just over £12 million for him to. We paid just over £12 million for him from Torino, Damian, and then obviously we recently, just let him go for over £3 million. So we've lost out on around £9.1 million there, and obviously, we paid £30 million for Ander Herrera back in 2014 for Atletico, was it Bilbao and that, he had 5 good years with Man United, then we let him go on a free transfer and that. So basically, we spend big money on players, and then we let them go for next to nothing. So in that aspect, that's a very, very bad business from the football club. But I still believe, these players here that are no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. So I think Matic is no longer good enough to represent the football club. He was first choice last season. I don't think he's no longer first choice now because he's too inconsistent for Manchester United. He's Nemanja Matic, he's too slow, he's aging up, he isn't getting any younger, and he does make that midfield, look totally imbalanced, does Matic. With Phil Jones, he's another central defender I forgot to mention earlier. Obviously, he's been a long-serving player at Manchester United. He's been in now, 8 years as Phil Jones. I think now he's into his 9th season as a Manchester United player, is Phil Jones. We have seen glimpses, of over the years of how good he can be, but I just don't think he's no longer, good enough, to represent Manchester United and that. So I still believe these certain players here now that still, need to leave the football club. I think Rojo definitely needs to go in January or next summer as well. But like I did say to you, I give you the news about David De Gea, earlier on this week. We could also, fear losing David De Gea in the January transfer window. Obviously, reflecting back throughout pre-season and early on in the summer, it was looking very, very imminent, that David De Gea, basically was going to be signing a new long-term contract with the football club, and it was looking likely, he was going to be committing his future with Manchester United and that. So it was looking imminent. He was going to be signing a 6-year contract, worth up to around 375 grand week, but obviously now this hasn't materialised, so obviously there has been a change of scenery basically. Now reportedly David De Gea has not yet signed a new contract with Manchester United. He didn't actually say after we returned from pre-season his contract should have been announced, but obviously this isn't the case, to be quite honest with you. Recent reports did also say that David De Gea has turned down a £350,000 a week deal from the club. Obviously that £350,000 a week figure would make David De Gea the highest played goalkeeper in the world. It'd also make him the highest played in the history of the football club and that. And actually, for large periods, basically David De Gea, was demanding 350 grand a week, to sign a new long-term contract with Man United. And, for large periods as well, we was not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. This is why I wasn't getting anywhere in contract negotiations. Obviously, we've been in contract negotiations for the last, 18 or 19 months or so. And then it recently revealed early on in the summer that we was, we come to a decision, and it did initially say we was willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands, but all of a sudden now, we could be set to lose him in the January transfer window. Like I did say, if we can't come to an agreement to get David De Gea a new contract, obviously, we'd rather cash in for him in January rather than letting go on a free transfer next summer, because we do know David De Gea's contract, does expire at the end of the season. But obviously, early on this summer, PSG, were regarded as the favourites to get him. Obviously, we do know that Real Madrid have been long. Real Madrid have been long admirers of David De Gea. Don't forget, reflecting back in 2015, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting David De Gea, but due to the fax machine, of course, the deal never materialised. I think also, Juventus have inquired about getting him. But David De Gea has been at Manchester United, 8 years. Obviously, now he's into his 9th season at Manchester United, and I think he's had, 7.5 good years at the football club. David De Gea, was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season. Obviously, he made a goalkeeping howler earlier on in the season against Crystal Palace and that. So people have been criticising his performances, but he is still the best goalkeeper in the world, because for Man United he's made over 300 other appearances in all competitions as David De Gea. Obviously, he's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the 6 seasons He's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the last 6 seasons, something like that, as David De Gea. And obviously, he's won everything domestically, and he has been since the Alex Ferguson era. And I think we paid around £17 million for him from Atletico Madrid, David De Gea. But I think, we're convinced, we can still cash in around £30 million for David De Gea in January. I think PSG are prepared to pay him around £30 million for his services. But like I did say, if David De Gea is to leave the football club, obviously, we've got a few goalkeepers on our agenda, who could replace him. Obviously, we've instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out on, Jan Blanc from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, was in for Jan Blanc early on this summer. Don't forget, we also inquired, we've recently inquired about getting, what's his name, Dominik Livigic from Dynamo Zagreb. So they're two goalkeepers on our agenda, who could replace David De Gea. But if De Gea leaves, we're definitely going to need a replacement for him. Obviously, we've got Lee Grant, who's injured. Obviously, we've got Sergio Romero, who's our second choice keeper. I did say, he's not reliable enough, to become our number one goalkeeper, Sergio Romero. Obviously, we've got, Joe Pereira, obviously, he went on loan to Hearts a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, Dean Henderson has gone back out on loan to Sheffield United. And I think in that aspect, he's really, really good because, it will gain Dean Henderson, more experience. But yeah, if David De Gea leaves, we definitely are going to need a replacement for him without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, we are going to need a replacement for him and all that. But like I did say, the majority of this squad is not only going to Solsjaker, so I did say, he's still in the process of rebuilding, basically. He's obviously, like I said, he's got Daniel James in Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, and I think his next potential target will be Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund, because don't forget, reflecting back in the January transfer window, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer identified, Jadon Sancho as his number one target back in January, but I think, it went against us of getting Jadon Sancho this summer, basically, with our failure, to qualify for the Champions League, so in that aspect, it went against us in that, and I do like Jadon Sancho, and I said I would be excited about the prospects of Jadon Sancho, playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial, and Daniel James, all that. I think he would blend in our attacking line really, really well. Don't forget, he's already had experience of playing in the Premier League. Jadon Sancho's under contract with Dortmund until 2022. Obviously, it will cost us a substantial amount to get him probably next summer. It will probably cost us around £100 million, but we have got the financial power, to meet that valuation. So Solskjaer, I think, is interested in bringing Jadon Sancho in next summer, because he did say early on this summer that Jadon Sancho is set to leave Borussia Dortmund next summer. But like I did say, Solskjaer, he's inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. Obviously, there's still 10 of them here now. He's inheriting players, Van Gaal brought in. Obviously, there's the vast majority of players now from the Van Gaal era have left, but some of them are still here. Obviously, he's inheriting, Matt here from the David Moyes era. And of course, these still players here from the Alex Ferguson era, don't forget. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money is being spent into the football club. £148 million has been spent this summer under Solskjaer. Well, it's around that figure anywhere. Obviously, just under £400 million was spent under Jose Mourinho. I already given you the reasons why it didn't work out under Mourinho. And I thought at the time we got Mourinho, I thought it could have worked out under him, because obviously he's got that proven pedigree. He's won silverware and that everywhere he's been, and was regarded as one of the best managers in the world. But maybe at the time, we did appoint Mourinho too late. Obviously, Mourinho won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season with Manchester United and that. It just didn't work out on him, because obviously he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top players. Obviously, the board went back in the signings that I wanted to recommend in there to the football club last summer. And there was no sort of philosophy under Mourinho, no winning philosophy, no sort of transfer strategy. So these are the main factor reasons why it didn't work out under Mourinho. And I think he had 2.5 years with Man United. Then obviously under Van Gaal, just over £200 million was spent, didn't work out under him because he didn't have the right sort of philosophy. But so it didn't work out under him, despite us winning the FA Cup under Louis Van Gaal era back in 2016. And then obviously under David Moyes, just under £67 million was spent in the football club, but David Moyes only had a short tenure at the football club. He only lasted 8 or 9 months, and that obviously, David Moyes, was never the right man for the job anyway. He never had that proven pedigree, never dealt with top players and that, and didn't have that stature, to get us in that commanding position, of course, where I wanted to be at the time. Of course, Ferguson, of course, recommended David Moyes in because they were both Scottish. They were both good friends in that. So I think we spent just under £1 billion in the last 6 years or so. If you want to take into account what we spent under Alex Ferguson, obviously it's way over £1 billion, that the football club have spent and that. But yeah, a hell of a lot of money has been spent into the football club. So it just proves it just proves in the last 6 years, it just proves, always spending big on players and, getting them Glasgow players doesn't always guarantee you success. And obviously, that's been proven with Manchester United, of course, in the last, 6 or 7 years or so, like I said. But like I did say, maybe some people say, we should give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a bit more time and that. I know we've enjoyed a difficult start to the season, was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season and that. But, some of the blame does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You can't just blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, some of the blame is, on the players as well. Some of the blame is on the players as well. I think, we need someone who can create more chances. We need to be more clinical in front of goal. I also believe we're lacking leadership in the team. Maybe we need to bring someone in, who's, good at taking a set piece and that. So these still improvements are needed in the squad. But, like I did say, maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does need time. Maybe he does need time, to bring some more players in and that. Maybe he does need a bit more time. Because don't forget, managers need time now. I know they don't get enough time now because obviously, the boards are now much more ruthless. But, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, when we appointed Alex Ferguson in from Aberdeen back in, was it 1985 or 1986, if I can remember rightly. Don't forget, Alex Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 seasons at the football club. And obviously, Alex Ferguson then was on the verge of getting sacked by Manchester United and he didn't. And look what happened then. We had, 26, 27 years of success under Alex Ferguson and that. So I don't think Solskjaer will emulate into Alex Ferguson. I don't think, despite anyone, don't matter who we've got in as manager, no one will ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. No one will ever replicate what we did under Alex Ferguson. Of course, that's something we've got to accept in that. But I still believe, I hope to say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, can get us back to being a competitive elite level football club. Maybe some people believe that, Solskjaer can emulate into Jurgen Klopp because, Jurgen Klopp's now been at Liverpool, quite a few years now. Don't forget, he has been at Liverpool as Jurgen Klopp. I think he's been there, I can't remember, is it around 3 years, 4 years, something like that. But don't forget, Jurgen Klopp, didn't win out with Liverpool until last season. Obviously, Liverpool won the Champions League last season, and it took Jurgen Klopp time, don't forget. But Liverpool, invested well in the last couple of windows. Obviously, they didn't sign anyone this summer, but they invested well in the previous couple of windows, did Liverpool. And Liverpool are very, very consistent now, don't forget. Obviously, their expectation, will be to win the league because obviously they haven't won the Premier League in Liverpool, since it got founded in 92-93. Liverpool have never won the Premier League, should I say. They haven't won it all in all, like I said, for 30 years. But they have got a really, really good squad there, Liverpool. So they definitely will be challenging this season. They've had a pretty decent start already to this season in Liverpool. But like I did say, even though we've been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, we are still the most successful team in England historically. We've won 13 Premier League titles, 7 all their first divisions and that. So we've won 20 all in all. Obviously, one of the club's greatest achievements, obviously, was in 1999, of course, when we won the treble. And, don't forget, we obviously won 3 back-to-back Premier League titles, back in 2007, 2008 and 2009 and that. Obviously, Manchester City are looking to match this season because obviously, City have won 4 Premier League titles all in all. They're going for the 5th league title, but they are going for 3 back-to-back titles in a row, Man City, because they've already, won 2 back-to-back titles of Manchester City now. But Man City have spent a hell of a lot of money, don't forget. But I think, they probably, will regain the title again. I think, where this season with Man City, because obviously they've got the experience, Liverpool, really haven't in that. But for me, like I did say, if we continue with this bad run of form, I think we'll probably finish lower than 6th. I think we could maybe finish 7th, maybe finish 8th. Obviously, we're 8th at the moment and that. But like I did say, we've got big games coming up, after the international break. We've got Leicester at home. Then I think our next 3 league games are Leicester at home, West Ham away, and Arsenal at home. And that's also going to be a tough encounter. I think obviously we've got Rochdale coming up soon in the Carabao Cup. Don't take that for granted. Look what happened last season in the Carabao Cup. We got knocked out by Derby, was it, if I can remember rightly. And then obviously we've got FC Astana coming up in the Europa League. I think, we should win the Europa League this season. Looking at, won it a couple of years ago under Jose Mourinho. We beat Ajax in the final. But I think we need to get Champions League football, whether we get it winning the Europa League or, getting in that top 4 and that. But that Champions League football, of course, is very, very imperative indeed. It's very, very imperative indeed is to Champions League. Very, very imperative indeed. But analysing our squad, I think it is a pretty decent squad and that, but just not good enough yet, to currently win the league. And that's just my opinion on that. But like I did say anyway, there has been cultural problems at the football club for the last 6 years or so. But like I did say, I did say I'm hopeful this team, can replicate, what the team did under Alex Ferguson and that. Like I did say, but I just got a lot of doubts now about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I just don't think, it's going to work out for him, Manchester United, and that's basically, my overarching view on it all. And there's nothing much really more to say in that. But like I did say, Man United Leicester preview will be coming up, sometime next week, and that. Hopefully, Wan-Bissaka, will be fit. I think he should be okay for the Leicester game. Hopefully, Paul Pogba, will be fully fit and that, because obviously, they're two imperative players. Obviously, Luke Shaw, we know he's out till October, so he won't be playing. Obviously, with Anthony Martial, I hope he can be fit for Leicester, because he's a very, very imperative player in that. So hopefully, they can regain full fitness. And but like I did say at the moment, City is strides ahead of us, Liverpool is strides ahead of us, and it's very, very imperative, that we catch up like some of Manchester City and Liverpool. That's very, very essential indeed. That's very, very essential indeed. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.